Hi, I'm Tay.
I'm Brock.
And we're gonna give you our life story. When were you born? Where? Tell me all that stuff.
I was born at Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach, same hospital my dad was born at. I was born a few weeks earlier than expected on March 27th, 1997. My parents were married for a few years before that. Their names are Shalene and Brett. A few years after that, my sister was born. Her name's Sierra. So what about you?
I was born in 1998. I was born and raised in Mission Viejo. My parents were briefly together, but not really. My mom was 20 when she had me, and then she got married when I was 8, and she had my little brother when I was 6. So I have a little brother who's now 18.
And what was your birthday?
October 20th.
What was I like as a child? I was very straight edge, very perfectionistic, very much a people pleaser. And because of all of those things, I was really good at like talking to adults, but I was also the class clown. And I was also always getting in trouble for talking too much in class.
Didn't Shalene in her wedding speech say that like you thought you were the teacher in the class?
Yeah, that was a thing. One time my kindergarten teacher sent a note home that was like, Brock is a great student, he's very smart, he's very social, except for sometimes he needs to remember that I'm the teacher and he's a student. Because I would like stand up in class and I'd be like, here's another way you could explain that. And I would like re-explain her lesson to all the students.
So you've like always been like a coach, kind of.
Basically, a know-it-all. What about you? Tell me about young Tay.
I was super perfectionist also. We're a match made in heaven. I was very, very type A, super organized. Like even when I was a year old, my mom says that I had these blocks and you'd have to put like the square in the square hole and the circle in the circle hole and so on and so forth. And I would do like all the squares, then all the circles, and then all the triangles. And if I couldn't find the last square, because like one time she took it to see what I would do, I searched for it. Like I wouldn't move on. So I was very type A. I always loved running. I started running when I was in 2nd grade. Even before that, I would have my parents time me. I would just run back and forth down the street. And if I didn't think the time was good enough, like I would do it again. So I've always been super competitive. I also went to a Montessori school until 5th grade. So I had like a different school experience and made me like more interested in like cooking, and I was learning Spanish at a younger age. So then I got to public school. I like didn't know anyone and I was a little bit more sheltered because I went to private school.
I touched on my interests a little bit. What were your interests?
Sports. All things sports. ESPN 24/7, 365. That was the only thing that I watched on TV. When I was like 11, I swore off cartoons because I thought that a good athlete doesn't spend all his time watching cartoons. So I stopped watching them and I stopped playing video games, and I was just all about football and baseball and basketball and snowboarding, and I did little trick shot videos on YouTube and spent a lot of my time.
What were those called?
Brock shots. Maybe we can like insert some videos
Yeah, we
right here.
definitely should.
Brock shots was epic. That was like my first YouTube channel. Really all about sports, and I was very serious about sports from a young age.
You also liked, in addition to like rock shots, and which was like your kind of start at making videos, you also started to make like snowboarding videos when you were little?
Yeah, I need to find some of those. I don't think they're on YouTube, but I would love watching snowboard movies. And so every winter I would film myself and my family and my friends and make my own like 10-minute long snowboard movie every year. So I wish I could find those because they were actually really well done in my opinion. That kind of was my introduction to my love of video editing and video creation.
I also started playing soccer when I was like 5 years old, and then I started on a club team in middle school, and then I tried out for the high school team my freshman year of high school. And at one of the tryouts, the cross country and track coach was there, and at our high school, the soccer coach said that like everyone who did soccer in the fall had to do track in the spring. And so I knew I was gonna have to do track, but I was doing that because of soccer. But then the track coach was there and he was like, you're really fast. Do you want to do cross country too? And I was like, I don't know what cross country is, but sure. And I showed up to like the first day of cross country practice and just hung with the varsity girls on the workout. And he was like, okay, like you're good. And then from there I did cross country. I ended up being varsity as a freshman, the fastest girl on the team freshman year. And then I was like, like maybe I like running better than soccer. Went into high school track in spring and I was like, yep, track is for me. And I quit soccer within like 2 weeks of doing track.
So tell me about your high school sports.
Basketball, I was not very good, and our team wasn't very good. So by my senior year, I stopped playing. Football, played for my dad, who was the offensive coordinator. My grandpa was the head coach, which is how I got into football. So like my high school football career was like what I dreamed about my entire life. And it was very successful. Didn't lose a game my freshman year. I didn't lose a game my sophomore year. My junior year, I was on varsity and we lost the first 2, and that was really, really bad.
Didn't you like make a promise to Cole Young or something that you would like never lose again?
It was to Chris Brown.
Oh,
Yeah, shout out Chris Brown.
Same person.
I told him we would never lose again, and we didn't. For the next 2 years, we won like 25 or 38 games in a row, and my senior year we won the state championship. We had a really, really talented team, and I was really lucky to have some amazing teammates who made me look really good, and it was a really amazing experience getting to play for my dad and grandpa and uncle. Really challenging at times, but really rewarding.
It's my mom's birthday on Wednesday, so we had to get some stuff to wrap her presents. Look how cute these are. They have like matching, what are this called?
Tissue paper.
And got some boxes to match too. And then we always,
This is a great pro tip.
we got so many. We always keep, we learned this from Shalene, like 30 birthday cards or just like blank cards or whatever in the closet, because when you need a card, it's so inconvenient to have to like go to the store just to get one card. So we just grab like 30 of them and we stock them. Lasts us like the whole year.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about your high school career?
So I mentioned that I started doing track and cross country, and we quickly figured out that I was pretty good. But then the end of my freshman year of high school, I started getting a lot of letters from colleges and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, like I can go to college for this. I'm gonna do it. So then I took it very seriously, like all through high school. But junior year, I got really sick, so that kind of changed my trajectory a little bit, because a lot of coaches saw that I didn't run well junior year. Since they didn't know why, we're like, maybe not that girl. I went on to do really, really well in high school, set a couple records, dated Brock at some point in there, and very quickly broke up with him. I won't go into like too much detail, but we have like a whole other YouTube that we can link on like our full story if you're interested. And then September of my senior year, I committed to Iowa.
I've never put this together until right now, but you know, you got sick your junior year. My junior year, broke my collarbone, which I've showed people before, but that affected my off-season recruiting different than what I had anticipated. Despite how successful my high school career was, I really only had one scholarship offer coming out of high school, and it was to Georgetown, which is an amazing school, and that's where I ended up going my freshman year.
I definitely should have like taped this or something, but we're just gonna throw it in. It's fine. So then I get to college in Iowa, and neither of my parents went to college. So I was just super unprepared for like what college was like, how to adapt. And then on top of that, I was super unprepared on like being away from family. So freshman year was very, very hard for me. I also felt like I didn't fit in because I was in the Midwest. I really, really struggled freshman year. I also had seasonal depression. I also got pneumonia at one point. I was injured at one point. So it was just really, really tough. Because I was trying to fit in, I was like partying a lot, and just like my priorities weren't straight, which made freshman year even more challenging. And then sophomore year, things chilled out a little bit. I got more used to it. I made some friends. Track still wasn't my number one. It was now like my number 2 instead of my last priority kind of thing. And I changed my major at some point in there too, because I was like, there's no way I'm going to nursing school right now. I'm not ready for that.
Junior college.
Also very rough. Georgetown, so I was opposite East Coast, West Coast from the rest of my family. It was very homesick that summer. I really struggled. The cultural difference was also really weird. I was the only person on the football team from west of the Mississippi. Everyone was from Florida and New Jersey, and no one was from California. But it just wasn't the place for me. They didn't really care very much about football, and I was someone who was obsessed with football, and that was like my number one. So I didn't really feel like I fit in there, and I ended up transferring to UC Davis, which is on the quarter system. So because of that, I basically didn't go to school from like December until March when they started their spring quarter. And so that was the first year. It was really weird, but it ended up working out for the best.
End of sophomore year, my coach kind of had like a sit down talk with me and was like, listen, like you're either in or you're out, but like, let me know. And I was like, I'm in. I really got into like personal development that summer and just started taking things more seriously and prioritizing things differently. Did really, really well junior year. At the time, I ended up being ranked 3rd all time in school history in my event. Did freaking awesome. So then get to senior year, you know, I'm on track to graduate, whatever. I tear my Achilles. So I'm injured. I can't practice with the team. I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with like relationship stuff. And I was just like in a really not super happy place. And then I get to start running again. I'm doing really well indoors. Brock and I start dating. I'm going to therapy and like everything just feels like it's like looking up. You start hearing about coronavirus and you're like, okay. And then in a matter of like 48 hours, schools start getting canceled and you're just like refreshing, like to look for any news about what's gonna go with track season. And they're like, track season canceled. Go home, we don't know when you'll be back, but go home. And I'm like, well, this was supposed to be like last season. Brock flies out to Iowa and we drive home in March. That was the last time I was ever at school.
Your rest of college.
Playing career was pretty uneventful. I hardly played at all at Davis. While I was there was also when I started to like really grow my business, and that all started to take off. Because I wasn't the starting quarterback, I was able to kind of put a little bit more time into my business and into things that weren't just football. And it was also while I was there that I changed my major from business, which is what it was when I was at Georgetown, to communication, which this is not a joke. I went into my advisor and I was like, I don't want to do any more science. I don't want to do any more math. Basically, give me the easiest major you can think of. And she was like, communication. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a communication major. And luckily there was like a lot of media stuff involved in marketing, so I got to like learn about that stuff. But for the most part, my college was pretty easy in terms of my education.
So now we're at the point of the story where our lives converge.
Am I even in the frame?
Yeah, you're over there.
I'm making tacos.
I'm folding. And the pandemic started. So with quarantine, we were kind of like in each other's bubble. Basically the only places that we went were my family's house or her family's house. But like that really accelerated our relationship.
Because when in March, we'd only been dating for like 3 months.
Yeah. By the end of July, we had moved fully in together to Seattle.
And now we're like away from family. We're obviously like decided we're in a very committed, serious relationship if we're gonna like move.
2 states away. And December 24th of that year, we got engaged.
I was nannying at the time when we moved to Seattle because I was like, I need some sort of an income. But of course, being around a bunch of entrepreneurs for long enough, they convince you that you can be an entrepreneur. So in March, so 6 months after we moved, about
March of 2021.
March of 2021, decided to like go full time with social media and start a life coaching business. I go full time with that. And in November, you had launched ICH.
Yeah, so that's when we kind of launched the most profitable part of our business with my mom and myself launching the Insta Club Hub. And that was also around the time that my own Instagram really started to take off. Well, that was, I guess, April of 2021. So a few months later is when my Instagram really started to blow up and went from 60K to now 600K on Instagram.
Yeah. We got our trailer in November of 2021.
Yeah.
And that's when we like started our Tay and Brock account just to have like an outlet to have fun with and stuff, since the other two were very like businessy.
Spent most of that winter traveling. So most of December, January, February, March traveling. And then after that winter, our lease was up in Seattle. So we moved out of Seattle and moved into this place in Southern California.
Yeah. We originally wanted to buy a house last year, but with the way the market was and with the wedding, it just wasn't the right time.
And then September we got married.
Yep.
And then October we went on our honeymoon. And then November is Thanksgiving. And then December is Christmas. And here we are.
And now here we are. And now it's Taco Sunday. And that's our life story, pretty much. And hopefully soon, I'll be adopted. That's like,
such a bomb to drop at the end. And hopefully soon I'll be adopted. People are going to be so confused by that.
Oops. My stepdad is adopting me. That's like the next big thing that will happen. And after that, it'll be buying a house.
Or maybe selling the trailer first and then buying
selling
We'll see which happens first.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Let us know in the comments if you like this video. Give us a thumbs up. We know this is one of our longer videos, so let us know if you like this longer content.
Yeah, if you like the longer stuff, or if you want us to keep making more digestible videos.
Nice word.
Thanks.
I'm gonna digest these tacos.
Same.